Hey everyone, let's try something a little different this week. My blog series for the next couple weeks is going to talk about secrets. What should be secret, what isn't secret, and I tried writing this down, and it's better told in person. So I want you to cast your mind back to the 90s. We were all working on Windows 3.1. I had a ponytail, and some people were still working on DOS programs. Now, I was the collection manager for a smallish agency, about 12 collectors, and we landed this national client. This great client said, "We're going to use you. We're going to send you 400 accounts, and we're going to send you a tape." And the salesperson came to me and said, "We're going to get this tape." Great. I figured I'd just get the tape in, go down to Office Depot, pay $250 for a tape drive, and away we go. So we called the client. "Where's the tape?" "Oh, it's coming." "Where's the tape?" "Oh, it'll be here soon." Tape shows up by courier. Salesperson opens it up, not a tech person, brings it to me and says, "Here you go." And I look at it, and it's a mainframe tape. It's a mammoth tape that holds 16 gig. In the 90s, that's huge. But it's only 300 accounts. I look at this and go, that's crazy. So I go online and I do a web search with Alta Vista. Google isn't a verb at this point. And I find out that a tape drive to read a mammoth tape is $12,000. So I have a small heart attack. The salesperson has a small heart attack. And then I go on to eBay, which is still shiny and new, and I find a tape drive. And the auction's closing in 2 days. It's currently at $200. And we get the company credit card and we bid $1,200. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Meanwhile, the client's calling, going, "Have you read that tape yet?" No. We'll get to it tomorrow. So we win the auction. We buy the tape drive for $900. And of course, we're on the phone with the seller. "Ship it, courier it, same day. We'll pay for the courier costs." And we get the tape drive in and we plug it into the computer, and nothing happens because it's a mainframe tape drive. Now, I'm half an IT person, so I'm trying to find something to read the tape. So I find a shareware backup program that will read a mammoth tape drive, and I download it onto Windows 3.1 and I read the tape. And it comes up in hexadecimal. And for those of you who haven't seen the Martian movie, that's not normal English. And I use a hexadecimal, a shareware downloaded hexadecimal editor to read the file. And I can read most of the file, but there's some wonky special characters. So I read the file. I download it as a text file. I open it in Word, which was new. We had WordPerfect at that point. So we download it in Word and we build a macro. And a macro is a recorded set of keystrokes that you can play back. So I spent hours building this keystroke macro to replace every special character with the character it should be. And then I save it and I press a button and I run it, and it takes all the gibberish and turns it into a real text file. And I look at the files, and there's three files. There's a customer file, who the person is, where they live, what their phone number is. And then there's a financial file, who the customer is, how much they owe, when they owe the money from. And then there's this third file, and it's this huge block of text. And I go in, and it's this national client's internal notes with their own bizarre short form, going back to the time this customer signed up with them 5-6 years ago. And there's phenomenal amounts of information, references, alternate phone numbers, places of work. So we import all this into our DOS database. And of course, the client's calling, "How's it going? How's it going?" "Oh, we got the files in. We're going to start working." Now, these were secondary placements. So we are the second agency to get these files. And it was a mix of consumer and commercial accounts. And we hit the ground running. We do an amazing job. And then they send us the next batch, and it's much easier. We take the tape, pop it in, run the shareware program 1, run the shareware program 2, run the Word macro, import the files. Everything's in within half an hour, and we get the second batch, and we're doing amazing. And the client calls us, and the credit manager for this national corporation goes, "What are you doing?" Apparently, we had out-liquidated the first agency because we had all this extra information. And we told them, "Well, you gave us all the notes from your customer file." "We did." "You didn't know that." "That's great. Keep doing what you're doing. And we're going along and we're heroes and we're running circles around the competition. And this agency, this national client used 6 agencies for this program: first assigns, second assigns, third assigns. So we look like heroes. We're outstanding. We're doing great. We're in about 6 months, and the credit manager, wonderful fellow, calls us and says, "We just brought on this other agency, and they don't know how to read this file. Could you help them?" Sure, not a problem. So I get in my car and I drive to downtown Toronto. And remember, I've got a ponytail, I've got little blue round John Lennon glasses and a goatee. I do not look like someone from Toronto. And I go to the high-rise collection agency office, and they introduce me to the executives. They've got putters in the corner, and they introduce me to their IT guy, who's a Microsoft certified, computer engineer. And I've been working on this for days, and I'm not sure how to make this work. And I'm like, move aside. And I sit down and go, okay, you're going to need this shareware program. We're going to build you this macro and da 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 da, and and duct tape and glue, and here you go. Here's your file. And they looked at me like, really? And oh, by the way, and here are the notes. And they're like, this is amazing. And then they did well, and so on and so forth. Now, if you've ever been in a gathering with a bunch of collection agency owners, it's like a bunch of people playing poker, and they all say they have a full house, and none of them want to show their cards. They think that information is power, and information is power. Having the ability to read these notes that the client didn't even know they were giving us gave us a huge leg up. But it would cost us nothing to share that information. We did well, the client did well, our competitor did well, and it was a win-win process for everyone. We could have kept that information secret. We could have tried to tell our client, oh, well, we're just doing amazing because we're amazing. But that's not the point. A rising tide lifts all boats. By us sharing that information, we built trust with colleagues in our industry who, to this day, 20, 30 years later, are still shared colleagues with shared respect for each other. And often we'll say, hey, did you know about this process? Oh, no, I didn't. And they share information with us, and we share information with them. And we're all better for it. The national client still thinks fondly of us and the individuals involved, because we were willing to share information and go outside our boundaries. And ultimately, there is information we shouldn't share. We shouldn't share the actual notes, or these customers said this. But processes can be shared, and better processes can be built. And collections is this weird industry where we don't want to make each other better, but we should. If we were programmers, we'd sit down and talk about how to run a proper agile management company, or how to run a Kanban board. If we were real estate agents, we'd talk about the challenges of selling in a pandemic. If we were any other industry, we'd help each other. Why won't collections help each other? The people in the credit and collections industry. I understand that every company has their unique challenges, and credit manager from company A is fighting a completely different battle than credit manager from company B. And collection agencies are built incredibly differently. We are not a cubicle farm with 600 call center agents. And another agency might look at how we do things and think we're insane. But the thing is, we can share the battles that we're fighting, and we can share the ways we solve them. And if I can download a shareware program and build a macro to translate something into DOS and find this secret hidden file, anybody can do that. And by sharing, the value of sharing that information far exceeds holding the cards close to our chest and not giving that to everyone else. So the point of this week's blog is, if you have a challenge, there's no shame in talking about that challenge. If you have a solution for a challenge, there's no harm in sharing that with your colleagues. There's enough business for everybody to go around. There are clients that will remember your integrity and you going beyond the bounds of the bare minimum of a business relationship and making solutions for them. And sometimes, yes, it'll help your competitors and it'll make them money. And that's okay. Thanks, everyone. Tune in next week.